Okay. Hi, Abby. Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
Sophie.
Hello, 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 hello,
Hi,
hello.
everyone. Happy
Okay. So
Monday.
happy Monday. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. All right,
Yes.
Abby, the question is really great today. I love this question, right? Because there is a paradox. So the question is, most people, well, here's a question. I'll read it and then I'll talk about it. You
Okay,
know me,
great.
talk about anything. All right. How to manage the paradox of being free from what people think and molding how they view you, right? So
Yeah,
let me explain the question, right? It's really good. So most of us want to be able to be ourselves, right? So as we want to be ourselves, then you have to be independent of the judgment, opinion, evaluation, advice of anybody else. I mean, that doesn't mean you discard them. That means you can listen to them, but you are, it doesn't impact your principle, your ideal, your stand.
right.
Okay?
Yes.
That's a dream of everybody, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
But there is a paradox because at the same time, for you, who you are in the world is a function of how people view you.
Right. Everything is relational, right? So that makes sense.
Yeah. So, for example, if somebody views you, has an opinion of you that you're stupid, whatever you say to that person will sound totally stupid. You will actually feel stupid because that person has a filter. She's stupid. Therefore, even you're speaking, you'll start stuttering or something. I mean, literally, you won't be able to think, right? But if somebody thinks you're great, like I have some students, or like with you, Abby, right? Whatever I say is great with you. You
So true.
than what I really am, because whatever I say, you just like, oh my God, it's great.
So true. It is true. It is absolutely true.
So with you, I'm so safe. I take risk and I become great and I go deep and I expand, right? Because you view me and you listen, you have a filter, she's great. So the art is to be able to create a filter for people that is very empowering while being not impacted
Wow.
by their judgment and evaluation. I mean, that is an art, right?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Because to create it but not be attached to it is the wow. Okay, I'm ready.
I'll share from my own life, right? So I've been here for 7 months now, right? And I'm still my Spanish. I understand now 80%, which is not bad, right?
That's amazing. 80%.
But it cannot come out. I can't at a dinner party. I can't. I just freeze, you know, and I understand why. It's because I haven't downloaded enough Spanish in my brain to be able to.
It just, yeah. Yep.
So I'm still the smiling, silent guest, you know. Wow. And unfortunately, after 7 months, people start to say, oh, nice, Sophie's nice. She looks good, you know, like, you know. Yeah. So I could smell. There was a kind of, you know, the silent, smiling guest is a little bit much, right?
Yep.
I sent to some key people my book presentation that I wrote for the editors, right? So I'm sending a book presentation to editors. And by the way, if you're listening and you know of any editor, please contact us because we have a great presentation to send to whoever can help us to get the book published. Anyway, so I sent it translated in Spanish to some key people on the island. That was last week. And in 1 week, the whole of the relation altered.
Wow.
People come to me, ask me questions, listen to me, invite me more. because suddenly
Wow.
I have created a filter. Oh my God, she's silent, but in fact, she's really interesting.
Wow.
And in 1 week, it has altered.
Wow.
And it was time. You see, I had to be responsible. I can't spend 2 years being the silent, smiling guest and expect people to keep inviting me, even if they're really nice and patient.
Wow.
I had to feed them something that will interest them and will create me as an interesting person.
Wow. You know what I hear in what you're saying, Sophie, that's powerful to me is that you shared authentically and openly who you are with the people around you.
Yes.
And that sharing altered your relationship with your community. And I can relate to that from the other space of being afraid to share, you know, the fear that gets in my way between sharing who I really am. And I can see how it creates the opposite, a barrier between myself and my community because I'm afraid to be open and vulnerable.
Create a filter that you don't want. You see people that don't share and don't talk, create a filter, or this person is not interesting.
Yes. Totally. I see that.
Like there is nothing for me in that person. Right? So there is another thing to notice is that I am responsible for the way people listen to me.
Right.
I could sit and say, oh, well, you know, don't they understand I don't speak Spanish yet? And be all victimized and blame them.
Right.
Or I can be the originator and
Wow.
really take the action to create the listening I want. Because
Powerful.
it's very easy to create a bad listening. It's very difficult once you create a listening you don't want to alter it. It takes years, you know, like I used to have a temper from hell, right? I used to react. I was very unhappy and very much in despair after my husband died and all that. So I threw tantrums. And, you know, to this day, that was 34 years ago. And to this day, there are people that still relate to me as somebody bad-tempered. Somebody dangerous, right?
Yep.
Because it takes an enormous amount to disappear the filters of somebody else. So you have to think and be clever and authentic, of course, right? It's not a manipulation, but you need to be responsible for the way people listen to you. Like I can never blame somebody that thinks that I'm a witch, that had an experience of me as a witch 30 years ago. I'm responsible.
Wow. You know, Sophie, I love what you're saying so much because as someone with an ego that is very people pleasing and very attentive to the filters that people put on me, that's how I survived, was always trying to manipulate those filters. But I did it from a place of insecurity and fear and inauthenticity at the time, right? And so now I'm at the point in my life where I'm working on shifting those to something that's authentic, that does ride this line of like, I'm being authentic and free and true to myself and not being as attached to what people think. And yet still needing to manage those old filters that I created that were based on that people pleasing.
Yes. So you might not have a book to send to some people, right? I was lucky I had this presentation and I presented it and I really wanted their opinion and their view and the people that are not trained in awareness. So I wanted them to read it and tell me what they thought. So it was all cash, right? But that's a way I found to show myself, to be able to express myself was my writing, right? But for example, in a family, right? Families are very difficult. Why? Because they've known you since you were born.
Yeah.
Right. So they know everything about you. And mostly they remember the difficult side of you and,
Yes.
and your survival, because you train them as you grew up to relate to you that way, right?
Yeah.
So how do you manage that? Well, you have to nonetheless constantly say, oh yeah, I used to be a people pleaser, right? Are you surprised that I'm now so authentic?
Yeah.
People for you, I understand, because I really tried to
Yeah.
in seeing me as a nice people pleaser kind of perfect girl, right?
Yeah.
Is it a shock? Tell me, how is it?
Yeah,
Tell
no,
me
that's great. I love that.
I am different, right? You can do it with a sense of humor, but you'll have to do it 55 times.
Yeah. That
And
makes
you
total
have
sense.
to retrain them. Now, the other side of it, right, is I send my book, they read it. I cannot be attached to their opinion, judgment, and evaluation. That's
Right.
a risk you take, right?
Oh, I love that. That's the risk of life, right? In
Oh,
putting yourself
that's
out
the
there.
risk of life.
Wow. Powerful.
No
That's,
free, what's the saying? There is no free lunches.
yeah, right. Yes.
So can you imagine if I had, I mean, they happen, two people happen to love what I had written, but can you imagine if they didn't? So how could I have coped with that?
Wow.
That's a risk to take, and then still stand by what I say and wrote,
Wow.
and engage in conversation to understand what was missing that they didn't connect.
Wow. It's exciting. I mean, that
But do you see, if we don't bring awareness to
yeah.
who we are, depends on the way people see us. And you have to be unattached to their judgment and opinion. If you constantly, it's an art, right? It's the art of relatedness. It's the art
Yeah.
of being alive. It doesn't happen by itself.
I love that what you're saying too, Sophie, because I think in a lot of new age spirituality, at least for me, when I was younger, I got really wrapped into that space of like, oh, just like, you know, try to free yourself and just you care about what you think of
Don't care
yourself. And
about them. Yeah, no, that doesn't.
yeah. And it's not reality, you know, like we're in a relational world. The reason that we're in the crisis we're in is all related to everything. And we relate to each other constantly. So I like this conversation because I feel like it brings like authenticity to the reality of our situation of being related to other people in our community.
Yeah, I had somebody really, really close to me that said to me when I wanted to show her a chapter of my book, she said, you know, darling, this kind of thing bores me so much. It's so complicated. I just don't want to think about those things. I think it's good for the Americans, not the French.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not a compliment, right?
no.
And
Ouch.
oh my God. Yeah, the arrogance of a French person.
You know,
And
oh, go
but it
ahead.
was really close to me. That person is extremely close to me. And that's where awareness served me, right? She had a view and an opinion about what my work was and what makes my heart beat and my soul fly. Okay. But the other way is that she views me as somebody complicated and intelligent and educated, right? So I had those two oppositions because I do identify with my work. This is the meaning I give to my life, is those conversations, right? So on one hand, she sees me as intelligent, educated, and complicated. And she has an opinion that all my conversations and what I write about are boring and not interesting and really not something she wants to get into, right? So then what you have is generosity, compassion, acceptance, and love. That's all you can do. And take what you get, right? Take what you get.
Yeah.
So I'll take, she thinks I'm intelligent and educated and that I'm wasting my time. Okay. Okay. Well, then what? That's just the way it is. What am I going to do? Be hurt, be angry, be resentful? No. Why? Why?
Yeah.
Everybody has their own journey.
Yep.
Right? Do you see how awareness is truly the ultimate power?
Yeah, it really is.
Mm.
I think I love you speaking about topics like this that are sort of a paradox, because your awareness has to be so balanced in the center of those two things without attaching to either. You have to just really bring a lot of consciousness to that point in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's powerful. You can kind of feel like, I mean, when as you're speaking about all of this and I feel it in my body, it is that sort of teetering on the edge feeling. It's the aliveness, is teetering on the edge between those
Well, it's even more
paradoxes.
than that. It's a universal law you're talking about, Abby. It's the law of equilibrium, right? It's also called the law of rhythm, and the Buddhists call it the middle way. Only access we have to harmony is through equilibrium. You cannot go to right or wrong. There is always a middle way. And that is the only access you will have to experience harmony while you're alive.
Wow. Wow.
You see, you did it again. You got so much value out of what I said.
See? I do. I mean, it's really, I think, I can just, when you speak, I can apply it directly to my life. I'm just like, oh, wow, yes.
That's the other thing that the people that read the presentation said. They suddenly applied it to their life, asked me questions, they want to know more. And so the point of me writing the book was to have people start thinking for themselves, right? And they said, the biggest compliment they said, you don't speak like you have the truth. You put yourself in it and you just present your experience. Wasn't that great?
Oh, that's so beautiful.
That's really
and I
great.
agree. And I have a really great question from Dima, by the way. Dima, we love you. We're so happy you're here. Dima says, is this exhausting sometimes? Like, is it exhausting sometimes to
what, to be aware?
Yeah, Dima, can you just say a little bit more? Is it to continuously be the cause of equilibrium?
I find it more exhausting to suffer.
Like to resist it?
Well, not to go to right or wrong, or not to be in harmony. You see, harmony for me is peaceful and a delight, and not to feel anger or resentment or hurt or, judgment. I feel so uncomfortable when I'm in the space. So does it take an effort for me to find the middle way? Yeah. Yes, of course. I have to deal with my ego all the time, right? I get hurt. That's my thing. I get hurt.
Yeah.
But the joy of living in harmony, the delight of it is worth all the effort. You see, for me to be a sleepwalker, not bringing awareness to every moment of my life, I am too conscious to be able to be sleepwalking anymore. So I feel the guilt, the anger, the judgment, the resentment physically. It makes me sick physically because I'm now very trained. It is really, I don't have any smoothing of the experience of suffering. It's raw. If I empower, identify with a judgment or resentment, the suffering is terrible, because I cannot go back to sleepwalking. So no, the effort is worth it for me. That's a spiritual path, right? It's like the more awareness you bring, there is no going back.
Right.
There is no going back, because once you awakened, you can't go back to being a sleepwalker.
Yep.
So they ask that question anymore. Say, is it difficult? I said, no. That's that asked that question, Dima.
Dima.
I love.
She says, wow, she definitely is resonating. And I hear you saying too, like it's the efficiency sort of like you can either do long suffering and like long resistance, or you can do bursts of, you know, effort
Well,
towards
there is a
consciousness.
low road and the high road,
Yeah.
right? The low road, oh la la. I mean, I do respect it. If people choose the low road, they're welcome to it. But
Not me.
I've chosen it many times, and I
Yeah.
tell you, looking back on it, it wasn't worth it. um, um, Here's the good news. So I give a good news to everybody. Awakening, it gets easier and easier because it's so fast.
Wow.
Now, right? If I go off away from harmony and equilibrium, it takes me a few minutes. And if it doesn't, I call you, Abby, or I call a friend, and in one conversation, I'm back in harmony.
Yeah.
Right? So you develop a muscle. It's like going to the gym. So it's really good. Yeah, it's really great. All right. So everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for your comment. And 2 reminders. On Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the mentoring call. Free, come. We send an email. We'll put it on the Facebook group.
Yep.
If you haven't registered yet, register. We don't record them, and it's just an hour conversation where we talk and you ask me whatever you're dealing with in your life, and I'll give you a little push in a direction you might not have thought about. And then also on the 1st of December is where our course that starts in January, the discount is ending.
Yeah.
So if you haven't checked the course, we'll also put the link. Just go and do it. Don't miss out. And love to have you in the course. It's called Beautiful You, Beautiful Life, because who you are being gives you the kind of life you have. All right. Anything else, Abby?
I'll just say what I always say, which is I don't know where I would be in my life today without this education. And this one is so accessible. It's affordable. It's the videos that are recorded are no more than 30 minutes. And then you get a coaching call every week for 14 weeks. I'm telling you, it is life-altering, this course, truly life-altering. And everything we spoke about on this call, the awareness that you have of your ego and that I have of mine, I wouldn't have that at all without this course. And I just think it's just join us. It's a great
Abby
course.
knows what she's talking about because she's been on a weekly private coaching and mentoring call for 2 years.
That's right. I've been doing this for 2.5, 3 years. I don't know how long. And I'm not tired of it yet. I'm telling you, I'm excited for this course that I've already done like 4 times. So please join us. It's a great course.
We love you. Be well.
Yes, we love you all.
Oh, and if you have a question, we'll also put the link. You can ask the question. And if you have any question at all, use our email. We'll put it underneath this video. Yeah. Much love. That was a lot of announcement. Be well.
Bye, everyone. We love you.
In Spanish, we say, hasta lunes. See you next Monday.
Oh, beautiful.
Maybe I'll start leading in Spanish soon.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That would be awesome.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.